Fiji against Scotland, folks. It's Fiji who get the win, 29 points to 14 over in Suva. This is a massive result in world rankings terms. Scotland now dropped below the Aussies, and Fiji closed a bit of that gap, which they had lost a bit of ground on with their last week loss to the Aussies. But man, what a game. Flying start to each half for the Scots, but Fiji, when they could finally catch the ball, because boy did they make some cough up some ball, make some errors in the first half. Once they could get their game going, they really looked very dangerous. Wainingolo, Tui Silva in particular, absolute units in this game. But yeah, they had the possession, they had the territory, the defenders beating the clean breaks, all those sweet, sweet attacking stats which you would like. And Scotland not helped by yellow card to Ashman, and then 2 yellow cards for Darcy Graham, ending in a 20-minute red card for him, which he was clearly pretty upset about. But we'll go through the key events and stats of the game. You guys can let us know your thoughts. Scotland started, as I said, real hiss and a roar. Get the maul going early, that gets stopped, but they spread the ball wide out to Kyle Rowe. Try time for the fullback, cracking start for the Scots. And you feel like with the conditions being warm, like it's still winter in Fiji, but at 20 plus degrees, you feel like as the game wears on, it's probably Scotland who's going to be feeling the conditions more. So an early start and potentially defending the lead was going to be helpful. So 7 points to 0 lead is a perfect way to start the game for them. Fiji looked to have almost struck straight back though, and they ended up getting Ashman yellow carded with a kind of no release at the breakdown, very close to his own goal line. Desperation bit of play, but sees him get cynically kind of yellow carded. What can Fiji do against 14 men? They can't quite score. Red path tackles, Wainingolo into touch out on the left wing. Ritchie ends up having to do, the loose forward has to do Jamie Ritchie and do the line-out throws for Scotland in the absence of their hooker. Bit of a mixed bag there. But Fiji just kept knocking on the ball. Scotland's desperate defence just kept holding them out and forcing errors. Kurivoli had one, Mangala had one, Mata had one. There were others. Like line breaks galore. Rayasi had a big line break, but do you think they could score and hold those final passes? No. Eventually, it's a bit of a moral victory for the Scots, because right at the end of the yellow card, we're like 21 minutes in by this point, the Fijians get another penalty. They just have to opt for 3 because they need to get some points with the man advantage. So it's 7 points to 3. Scotland still in front. There's a bit of kind of ebbs and flows of the momentum. Scotland get the scrum going, so they win a penalty, but Fiji are able to win a turnover at maul time, so neither side really able to exert that kind of pure pressure. And you felt like the stoppages that were going on, even though Ben O'Keefe, the ref, was trying to keep the game moving, the stoppages probably helped the Scots in terms of handling the conditions. But like Ferguson probably didn't like the finger he got in the eye, which I don't know, I didn't see it happen, but he said he got something in his eye. It probably wasn't an ideal reason that he wanted to stop the game. Jamie Ritchie going off obviously doesn't help Scotland's cause with his experience and his ability at the breakdown. But yeah, there were certainly a few sore bodies. Then it looked like Fiji had blown another great chance because they go length of the field. Again, it's Tui Silva, it's Ravovo on the right wing. It looks like Mangala has dropped the ball, but they ruled that Darcy Graham puts in a tackle just slightly early on him. So he ends up getting himself his first yellow card, but no penalty try because they ruled that the Scottish tight head might have been able to shut down the play. It's an ambitious call, but it's still a yellow card nonetheless for the Scots. What can the Fijians do against 14 men? Well, this time it ain't the offload game. Just maul it. And he is able to go over for the first try for the Fijians. It's unconverted, but it's 8 points to 7. They get themselves in the lead, and then they double down. Ravovo gets a second one, so it's a quick fire double again during the yellow card. It's another penalty conceded for the Scots, and the line out from the Fijians. They get the backs, Munns to Rayasi, and then big pass out to the right wing with Ravovo pretty much unmarked. So 15 points to 7 at half time, and that play kind of goes back to Scotland just doing a double pump at the line out and getting themselves free kicked. Like unforced error gives Fiji that platform to get possession and get their attack going. Turnovers conceded though at half time, 7-4. So Fiji with almost double the error rate, which is, they had more ball. They had 62% possession. So they were not want for a bit of possession, but just so many missed chances in the first half. They had more line breaks, 5-1, more defenders beaten, 24-6. But like far from game over at 15 points to 7. And then Scotland with that flying start to the second half, Tom Jordan, he's able to get himself a try after Scotland had initially kind of fluffed the kickoff to the half, but they ended up holding off. And then, Ashman kind of getting a line break, the hooker, which was different. He went close. Next phase, wide ball to Tom Jordan. 15 points to 14. That's back to game on. But that's the final scoring for the Scots. They could only score within the first 5 minutes of each half. And then that was all she wrote. I mean, both sides, to be fair, had a few errors, like running it into Tuisova. It's probably not ideal for the Scots. They ended up getting themselves turned over, but Fiji blew a attacking line-out chance. But then 58 minutes, so we're getting some decent minutes into the second half before we finally get a finished move, a bunch of carries. The forwards go up the guts for Fiji, and that man Wainingolo, who was a bit of the star from last week's game against the Aussies, does it again, this time against the Scots, steps a couple of tackles, goes over for a fantastic try. 22 points to 14, Fiji in front. Tuisova almost gets another one from a Wainingolo line break immediately from the restart, but he's brought down like a meter from the line, and then Fiji's neck roll at the breakdown gives Scotland a bit of a let off. Sorry, my kids just outside the room. What was I saying? Yeah, bloody close from the Fijians immediately from the restart, but then Darcy Graham prevents another surefire try from the Fijians with an intercept. However, he is ruled to be offside, so it is second yellow card time for him. And it is a penalty try because a try surely would have been scored if he didn't intercept that ball. He was not offside by much. Apparently, it was just his hands in front of the line. He's clearly pretty broken up about it, but that takes the score out to 29-14, which is the final scoring. Interestingly, for the end of the game, the last kind of 10 minutes plus, the Scots absolutely throw the kitchen sink at the Fijians, running it out their own 22, kicks through, maul time. Fiji are able to hold them out. Matavesi probably shouldn't be doing kicks, the big reserve hooker. But Fiji's defense, pretty ironclad. Thanakaivata even gets held up at the death, which is actually a pretty lucky escape for the Scots, as the Fijians had kind of gone length of the field. Because if they'd scored that try, that would have given the Fijians a 16-plus point win, which would have been even more world ranking points. It would have seen the Scots drop below Fiji. With the margin it was, Fiji just gain a bit of ground and Scotland drop below the Aussies. Possession of territory finish with Fiji. The run meters is 640 to 313. The defenders beaten is 36-18. The clean breaks is 7-4. The penalty count against the Scots, 14-9. They were getting absolutely hammered. And turnovers conceded kind of settled down for the Fijians, but maybe increased a wee bit for the Scots in the second half, as the Scots did get a bit more ball, but finishes 11 each. I think Fiji pretty deserved winners, man. Tuisova, 19 carries. Wainingolo, 3 line breaks. Matt Fagerson made 21 tackles on defensive shift for the Scots. But, the Scots went down to this one looking to close the gap for that 6th spot on the world rankings. And they've ended up dropping below the Aussies, with Fiji keeping themselves in the hunt for that vital 6th spot, which will be the top seeds at the next World Cup draw. But you guys let us know your thoughts on the game. It was a bit of a cracker to start what is a mammoth feast of rugby this weekend. But yeah, you guys let us know your thoughts, and I'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.